Alrighty, let's get this loaded here. So we're gonna skip the timer and all that fun jazz. Today, my name is Boyan Petreski. Today is May 10th, 2023. This is a trading and review session, monthly one that we have here at FX Street. I am with Tradictive. That's the technology company that's providing the software that we will be using. It is the patented and proprietary technology that we utilize to remain objective, to remain steady when it comes to trading, when it comes to executing on our trades and executing on the plan that we have. So without much more further ado, let's go ahead and get started. And as I mentioned earlier, if you have any questions, please feel free to send them over to my email right here, which is boyan@tradictive.com. All right, so due to some technical difficulties that we're having, we're going to be trading on the NinjaTrader platform. I do have a couple adjustments that I gotta make here, especially when it comes to trading Bitcoin. Obviously, having these tick bars and volume bars is not exactly the most helpful data that we can compare between what's going on in the current market and which way we're planning on going. Let me just pull up the chat here on the side. We're good to go. There we go. I got the chat pulled up. Let me pull up the Q&A. There it is. All right, so we're going to do a quick adjustment to this chart, right? This is how I typically trade futures. Depending on the instrument, we have our ticks and our volume bars. We're not going to be doing that with crypto. We're just going to be focusing essentially on 2 time frames. I said technically 3, but 2 tradable time frames and 1 directional time frame, which is the one down here on the bottom left. Why do we do that? Well, we do that because of a couple of different reasons that I'm going to quickly go over. The first one is the fact that the 2-minute and these, this 233 tick, which is, again, we're not going to be using that, is something that is very common, that is very uncommon to be used. So nobody, I mean, not nobody, but many people don't use these exact time frames, right? And for different reasons, not just for the sake of, being unique here, but because we need to kind of have a better glimpse at a market, we need to be thinking about what the rest of the market thinks and then finding our unique approach into somewhere that fits that overall movement of the market. And how do we do that? Well, we combine uncommon timeframes, which we do have an edge on based on backtesting, the 2-minute, and we're going to be using the 5-minute here. So I'm just going to switch that to this one. So, and this is Bitcoin dollar. So we're going to be using the 2-minute and the 5-minute for our execution timeframes, and we're going to be using the 15-minute time frame for our directional. The 2-minute is, as I said, is uncommon, mainly because on crypto we don't have ticks or volume bars, or at least not reliable ones and backtested ones at this time. We're going to be sticking with these. However, the 15-minute time frame, right? This is a common time frame that's available on every platform out there. I mean, there's probably not a platform in existence that does not have the 15-minute time frame. So right now, what we need to do is we need to figure out what is the direction of this market. Which way do we think Bitcoin is going? The way we do that is by utilizing what we have here on the bottom. And let me just pull this up like this, so it's kind of a little easier to see and understand, so that it kind of mimics closer to what trading view would look like. And again, this is a little bit makeshift because last minute I'm unable to access my my trading view, where all of this is already preset for me, right? This workspace is my futures workspace for trading futures right here. So just kind of, and that's just the life of a trader, right? When you get hit with a curveball, you gotta figure out a way to get back in the saddle. And this is me figuring out getting back in the saddle. All right. So a couple of things, as I was mentioning, we do have these 3 charts right here that we're looking at. We have the gray one down below giving us directionality with the 15-minute time frame. How does it give us directionality? Well, it allows us to answer a very important question, And that question is, should we be trading this instrument on this time frame right now? Um, the answer is not as obvious unless you use the suite of software that I'm using here, which is Trade with UFOs. I'll share the link to it in the chat. All right. But it's actually very visually appealing to those who like to see, a visual representation of something that is oftentimes, not confused, but oftentimes it is subjective, which is, are we in an uptrend or are we in a downtrend? Right? Well, you zoom out enough on any type of a chart, you can change the trend the way you look at it, right? Right now this may seem like, oh, this is an uptrend, right? Well, zoom out far enough is like, oh, wait a minute, this is, sideways. Zoom out even furthermore, like, wait a minute, this is just a bounce off of a downtrend. Like, what are we? So that's what the software that we use here provides. It provides that clarity. So utilizing this software, I can tell you right now, this is definitely an up climate, which you see right here, auto climate, which I feel like is a much cleaner term than trend. The climate is up or down, or it's unconfirmed. Those are the three options that you have. It's either up or down, or it's unconfirmed. It is down when we have a thick ruby dot. It is an up climate when we have a thick sapphire dot. And it's unconfirmed when it's a thin dot. Any one of these thin dots means it's unconfirmed, right? So we have no additional probabilities in our favor when trading in an unconfirmed climate. We do have additional probabilities in our favor when we're trading in a confirmed climate, whether it's up or down, or whether it's a sapphire or a ruby dot, which again, sapphire indicating an up climate, ruby indicating a down climate. Now, the next question is, how far along is that climate, right? Are we at the beginning of it? Are we at the tail end of it? Are we, um, in the middle of it, right? Where exactly are we in this climate? And that's what this data here answers right below. So the count, which is how, what's the count of the current climate? And the current climate we see is all this row of sapphire dots right here. We're currently on the 10th 15-minute, right? Because this is the 15-minute chart. We're on the 10th 15-minute increment of this current climate. The standard deviation, which is how many times this instrument typically goes up for, is 3. So we are, well past the extension of this current climate. So therefore, our probabilities are in our favor to trade is to the upside. However, they're not as high of a probability as if this was, let's say, on the second, right? So that's where things get a little bit trickier when it comes to utilizing climates and utilizing the counts, right? Because it is a very, very, very specific type of an approach that, provides that clarity. So in this scenario, if I wasn't, looking at anything else, I would just say, okay, I have no trades here, right? And that's it. The conversation, the analysis stopped. Now, this took, 10 minutes to explain, but it takes seconds to analyze once you're used to it. And that's the beauty of it, right? So what we could do right now, instead of, let's say, okay, we're not going to trade this on the 15, let's check and see what the 60-minute is doing. All right. The 60-minute is actually 2 out of 3 right there. Currently on the second one out of 3 60-minute increments, and we still have 40 minutes in this climate. So that means we could potentially look at a trade that we can trade. Now, which is, again, that's great news. So we've just, figured out, hey, this is a pretty early stage climate for the 60-minute. So let's see if we can find some trades that we can execute on. And how exactly, do we go about executing? Well, subscribe and you'll find out. I'm just kidding. Um, we're going to go over that right now. Let me just pull up a screenshot so I can show you exactly what we are going to be doing here. We're going to be switching this to the 15 minute. Actually, it's not going to be the 15. This is going to be the 8, and this is going to be the 15. All right. So a couple of things that we got going on for us here is obviously as we adjust the bottom time frame, these also have to adjust. Okay, and that's very important to understand because um, bottom line is, you can't be using the same entry time frames if you're, demagnifying your glass that you're looking at the overall directionality, right? Right now we were at the 50, so we were on the 2 and the 5. Now we're on the 60, so we're on the 8 and on the 15. All right, so let's take a look and see. Actually, this should be, yeah, we're good. 27, 935, 28, 1. Okay. So a couple of things that we need to now. So now that we have the proper setup on the charts, now we ask ourselves, okay, enough talking about you need to get in a trade, right? You said that this makes sense to get in a trade. Okay. Well, let's analyze it of now where would we enter on this trade? The where I feel like is a lot more important than just defining the directionality, right? Because you can find directionality all day long, but it's not what executes the trade. What executes the trade is, the rules that you have set for yourself. And in this scenario, the rules that we do have set for ourselves for this um, trade is the following. As you see, there's a golden line here, which is pointing out at this one. Let's not do that. You see that right here, 27, 821.96. That same gold line, right, is what we're looking at over here, 27, 822. Oh, it's because I changed the time frames. This is still plotting to the 15 minute. Yeah, it's not as easy to do things on the fly. Let me see if I can get this modified quickly while we're here. Yeah, I'm gonna have to disable this one for now, and we'll get that set up another time because I just don't want to waste time. I want to get in this execution. Um, the reason why, the way I like to see these is, I have the 15-minute EMA charted even on the time frames that are above, which is the 8-minute right here and the 15-minute here. But unfortunately, it's not charting properly. So we need to rely on the 60-minute right here, which is this 27, 826, because we adjusted the lens. It is the 60-minute now is the auto climate window that we need to be focusing on. And because I'm kind of doing this a little bit makeshift, my trading view is not working today. It's not letting me in, essentially. Um, that's why we're using NinjaTrader. It's not that it can't be used properly. It's just you need to have it set up properly. So right now, though, we're looking at the exponential moving average, the 9 EMA. That's what this golden line represents. That's the common indicator that's also combining our uncommon indicator, which is the proprietary and patented technology that we use here, which is the auto UFOs and auto climate. That's these flying saucers that you see on the screens above, as well as the software down below. Um, Combining those two is what gives us the edge in the market. And right now, the way we combine that edge is the following way. We take the 9 exponential moving average and essentially we plot it on these upper charts right here on the 15-minute and on the 8-minute. And we find an overlap of that 9 EMA, so at 27, 825, so right here somewhere is where that would be, and 27, 825 would be here on these charts. Now, initially and as of this moment, right, we do not have, for example, if we had a green UFO here, right, we would have an overlap, and this would be a valid trade. At this time, we do not have that on either one of these charts, right? There's nothing here. It may show up because this is it's an active indicator, right? So as price moves, new UFOs develop. But as of right now, we don't have. And given how much reaction we're getting off of this price right here at 28,052, we may actually get a UFO. We'll see. As of right now, though, we do not have one, and therefore we're going to be just holding off and waiting to execute on a trade. Something that we could do is, given the fact that we still have another half an hour of this climate right at the top of the hour, we could potentially plot a trade to get in on should price keep falling down, right? What's going to happen with the moving average? Well, the moving average, which is about here, is also going to keep falling down. And what could happen is that these two would actually overlap inside of this UFO here. If that happens, then we have a trade. So what we would do is right here on this 27, and you see the indication is given here, 27,773.54 is the top, and the bottom is at 27, 647, 20, whatever, because it's a little hidden there. That's 23. All right. That's the bottom. That's the top. So what we would do is we would actually put in a trade right here at the top of this UFO. We could plan this trade mainly because it's allowing us to, and I don't think it's going to let me execute. Yeah. Um, I'll have to change it to the SIM account because again, I don't have it connected um, to that. So we'll go like that. And we could put this on here. And there it is, right? We see that, we have our buy limit there. Now the question is, okay, so we have our entry. What's our final target and what's our strategy? Let's say, Bitcoin just falls right now rapidly and it comes to our entry. What do we do? Well, that's, it's a good thing that we have an answer for that as well. All right, folks, I'm back. So we talked about where we're putting in the trade. We are putting it where it makes sense, which is, we're expecting, let's say, this market to come down, and this market being Bitcoin. Right, we're expecting it to kind of touch down on this 27.75, not really 75, it should be 73.54. So let's go ahead and adjust that. We're going to, oh, this is new. Attached indicator. I haven't seen this one before. Let's go ahead and put that on. Even with a buy order from the control center, but try to be as exact as you can, mainly because you never want to just throw an order in there just to throw another order in there. So we'll just I'll do a basic entry on BTC. It'll be good until closed. Quantity is going to be 0.03, and I'll explain that a little bit later. So our limit entry, though, is at 27,773.54. So that's our entry. We're going to do I'll let me do a stop, but okay. We're going to do 2 of these. So we're going to go ahead and buy. There it is at 2773.54. So we have our order in. Now, where is our stop? Okay, our stop is also tied to the UFOs. So the way we go about our stop is, now we're going long, right? So we're looking down below. How far down below are we going to let this market go in case we're wrong? Okay, so in this scenario, how far along could we go in case we're wrong? Well, we need not look further than what our UFOs are showing here, which is, again, they're a stack of probabilities in our favor. So, and I don't use that word stack loosely, mainly because, as we see right here, we do have stacked UFOs. They're on top of each other. So there's a UFO that goes from, this number to this number, all the way down from here to here. So our stop would actually need to be somewhere below here, right? In the white space below there. Now, could you also utilize this one? Because there's obviously, markets move, especially crypto markets move quite a bit. Could you use this one here as well? I would say definitely can. It's just that, you're now increasing the risk of your trade substantially. And on top of that, you in order to make this work to the extent that it's supposed to work, you kind of need to say to yourself, well, I'm looking at this in the extent of, you know, I'm gonna have a T1 that's gonna be a 1-to-1, and that should be a number that should be easily reachable, right? So if we make our T1, from our stop, if it's down here at 27,773, and we make our a stop all the way down here, let's say 27,350, right? That's close to $400 away from where we're entering. So that means our T1 would have to be $400 away as well, which will be up here, 28,100. Now, I'm not saying that Bitcoin does not move. It definitely moves. It's just that it may take a while before, let's say, something like this were to happen, right? Right? It could take a while. So that's something that you need to kind of back test for yourself and stick with. The shorter your T1 is, the easier it is to be risk off, which is a very powerful feeling. Obviously, we're trading because we want to risk money to ultimately get something out of it. But when on many of your trades you're risk off, meaning you get your T1 and you take half the position off, then you have no risk. Even if the trade moves completely against you after you've hit that T1, you got nothing moving against you. So in this scenario, what we're going to do is I'm going to use 27. So the bottom of this UFO is 27,548.05, right? So 548. So minus $50 right here would be at 27. Let's do the math here properly. So 27,548.05 minus 50. That will be at 27,498. 27,498 is actually going to be within this UFO. So we do have to use the bottom UFO as well. So this is going to be a bit of a smaller quantity trade, but wider net, let's call it. So 27,367.01 minus 50. So our stop is going to be down here at 27,317. All right, so 27,317 is going to be right here. Let's go ahead and throw a quick horizontal line so we have that here. So 27,317 around here. Okay, for some reason it wasn't working the first time. That's a little strange. Oh my God, it's white. That's why. That's funny. Why would it's probably because the default is black. That's why. So let's put this one as a brown, not a beige, a brown line. There it is. So that's our stop. Right now, we just have to do the math from 27,317 minus 27,773.54, which is our entry. So basically, we're taking away, we're trying to figure out what is the distance between the stop and the entry to figure out where our T1 will land. So it's a 1-to-1 trade. Many platforms will do this automatically. I'm just doing it manually just because that's what we're doing on this one here on NinjaTrader. It's a lot easier to do on TradingView, that's for sure. So 27,73.54 minus 27,317.01, which is the stop down below. So that is 456.53. So 456.53 is our risk. Plus 27,773.54. So that's 28,230. 28,230. And I'm just going to modify this to the default to be this color because I'm not sure why it was ghost white. 28,230, which is right where market is right now. And we can just do this approximately here. So, and I'm just going to put this as our forest green. Fine. Okay, so that's our T1. Now, where is our final target? Again, relying on the UFOs, we're actually going to use for the bigger picture, right? T2 is our bigger picture target. We're going to be actually using the first opposing UFO on this larger time frame, which in this scenario, the first opposing UFO is the one that starts right here at 28,400, right? So 28,400. Oops, that lagged a little bit for some reason. So 28,400 is the first opposing UFO, right? We're betting on an up move. So the first opposing UFO will be the first red UFO that we see, which in this scenario is 28,400. So that means that our get that copied in 28. You gotta love it sometimes. You hit copy, but it doesn't copy. 230 was our T2, T1. And of course, we're gonna put F6 on the up here at 28,400. And this will be our T2. And I'll just also make this a little bit of a, let's make this a dark olive green just so it's a little different. We still know it's our T2 and that's our T1. We can add some text to it on here as well. And this is T2. And of course, there it is. That's T1. Okay, and our stop is right here. And that's our trade setup, right? So we're looking to get in long at 27,773.54. Our stop is down here at, it was 27.17. We can always just round it up if you want. You can just do it like this, 27. It was 317. And our T1 is at 28, 230. And our T2 is at 28,400. All right. Now, that's the overall setup for this trade. All right. We already have the trade placed. Everything is looking pretty good. And again, I do apologize for this session. It was a little bit of a makeshift session just because TradingView was just not cooperative today. And it was a little unfortunate, but we still managed to figure out how to get some of these trade setups together. And of course, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, you can always feel free to reach out to me. I'll just go ahead and put the slide back on. So that's my email right there, boyan@tradictive.com. And of course, this session is for educational and instructional purposes only. This is how I personally would trade. That doesn't mean that that's how you should trade, right? Every person is different. I would say definitely look into different methodologies so you're all, set and understand how each one works before you just dive headfirst into any one of them. Of course, I have found clarity in the way that this scenario is traded, and that is why I am showing it to you here. Now, if there's any questions, please feel free to type them in the chat, or if there is, anybody watching this recorded, please feel free to send it over via email. If there aren't any, We're going to go ahead and close up the session here in about 2 more minutes, and we'll be good to go. I'll give you guys a couple more minutes.